Is it true what they say? In today's episode, we're addressing the rumour that the old PRS private stock guitars are better than the modern ones. And we're also going to be investigating whether PRS private stock guitars are worth the hype. We'll be comparing the craftsmanship, the materials, and of course, the playability and tone of both instruments. So sit back, relax, grab yourself a drink, and let's get straight into this Squealing Pig Guitars episode. Hello guitarists, welcome back to SPG, the home of luxury drum machines here in Nottingham, England. My name is Ben Keightley, I'm going to be your host today, and in today's episode we're addressing the rumours whether the old PRS private stock guitars are better than the modern ones. We'll also be answering the question whether PRS private stocks are worth the hype or not. To start off with, we've got a beautiful 2011 example. This is in Laguna Glow, it's absolutely stunning, and we're going to be comparing that with a very modern, very newly built PRS private stock custom 24 in Cross Beach Fade, which again is a beauty. But there's been a few rumours over the years that the older PRS guitars are better than the modern ones. That includes better wood materials, better overall craftsmanship, and better playing guitars. Well, in today's video, we're going to investigate that, see if this guitar plays better than this one. I think this is going to make for an interesting video, so let's get straight into it. But just before we do, make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this video. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers and we could do with your help. So make sure to hit that subscribe button if you're enjoying this video. But let's not dawdle any further, let's get straight into comparing these two awesome guitars. So our first test today is going to be all about the visuals of these two guitars. Really answering the question, which one looks the best? And of course, that's going to be a subjective answer to each and every guitar player. There's a couple of things we can check in terms of the quality of the woods and the craftsmanship. So starting off with the older one, in my opinion, the top on the older one is far superior. It has better figuring, it's got a deeper look, and I also believe that the carve to the top is a little bit more of a dish carve, it's a little bit thicker than the modern one. That suggests that the top is just slightly thicker, which means we're getting more maple for our money. Whereas this one, although it is still very beautiful and the paint job is striking, I don't think the grain of the wood is as striking as the old one. And as you can see, the dish carve isn't as prominent on this Custom 24. It may just be the figuring that is making this one look thicker, but let me know in the comment section below, what do you think? We can also tell that by the reveal binding. In my opinion, the reveal binding on this one is just that slight bit thicker, and obviously the reveal binding will be the top. Although I really like the grain of this guitar, I do think the paint job on this guitar is far superior, and even though I actually do prefer the colour of the Laguna Glow, we've got a beautiful back on this guitar. They've actually grain filled it with a blue colour and then finished it over in white. And then, as you can see, I'll do some close-ups, but this flame maple is so picturesque. It looks unreal. It doesn't look like a real guitar when you hold it. It's so incredible. Whereas when we compare that to the older one, the back of this guitar is almost like a black. From where you guys are sitting now, this will just look like complete solid black, but it is slightly translucent. They actually have figured mahogany on the back here, which is beautiful. We also have the wood covers, which is a really nice added touch, and we actually have a flamed maple neck on this. Again, it looks nice, but definitely not as nice as the modern one. Of course, that's 1 point to each guitar. We've got better woods and craftsmanship on this guitar, but we've got better paint job on this one. And I think this brings up an interesting point about how guitars are manufactured today. Obviously, this guitar was manufactured in 2011 when costs were far lower than they are now. So they could source wood just like this at a cheaper rate. Whereas now it's a lot harder for guitar companies to source that high quality wood and make it actually affordable for them. I know these are the top end of custom shop, but they still have to think about costs at the end of the day. So I definitely think the old one wins in terms of visuals. I prefer the front of it, but the back of this guitar is sublime. Of course, another aspect of the guitar buying experience is the case that it comes in. And I have to say, PRS makes some of the best cases on the market. This one is no exception to that. You've got the beautiful carpet case, as we call it here at Squealing Pig, but it's basically a mandala design, very beautiful indeed. So opening it up, we have the modern PRS private stock in this one. And when you open that, you're not going to be disappointed by any means. It's absolutely stunning. And this is the case that the older 2011 comes in. It's still a very smart case, probably not as nice as the modern one, but we've got this nice kind of brown leather exterior, black bumpers, gold piping, very, very ornate. Opening it up, such a beautiful guitar. Whoever gets to own this down the line, you're a very lucky person. Obviously, still got the private stock bird, which is really cool, more of a brown inside. So now we're going to talk about the specs of these two guitars and break down everything that goes into both of them. Okay, so let's go over the specs of this new PRS private stock Custom 24 in Beach Fade. And I have to say, this has to be one of the most stupendous finishes I've ever seen on a PRS guitar. It's truly breathtaking. Whether you like these colors or not, you can't deny how incredible and how much it demonstrates the eye of detail that you get in the private stock department. Then we have a swamp ash body on the back, which is actually grain filled in blue, which is really cool. Never seen that before with like a white kind of overcoat. Obviously got a very even flamed maple neck. This is kind of what you're getting at this level of private stock. Obviously got that beach fade to the yellow, going into the sandy white, going into the turquoise, going into the dark blue. And then the same colors are also on the fretboard, but it's a quilt maple, so it looks even more like the ocean, and with the blacked out birds. This has to be one of the coolest guitars I've seen. I really dig it personally. So let's break down the construction. So we have a swamp ash body, then we have a quilt maple two-piece top with the beach fade finish. We then have a flamed maple neck and a quilt maple fretboard. So that's a lot of maple on this guitar. It's quite a heavy Custom 24, and it's also going to be very bright because of all that maple. Of course, the baseline models are Custom 24, just like both of these, so you do get the little owl dude at the top there. As it is a private stock, you do get that private stock eagle at the top, and then we get some really nice appointments, like the truss rod cover is also made out of quilt maple. Every single private stock comes with one of these flashy spec sheets, which is actually signed by Paul Reed Smith and Paul Miles. And of course, this guitar is signed by Paul Reed Smith. Paul Reed Smith actually personally plays every single private stock before it leaves the factory. As it's a Custom 24, we have a 5-way blade switch, 1 volume, 1 tone, and then we have gold hardware on this one with the Gen 3 PRS tremolo, which is probably one of the best tremolo designs on the market. It stays in tune so nicely and you don't have a locking nut. We also have the PRS Gen 3 locking tuners with the ivory buttons. I've mentioned why they're using ivory in other videos, but it's basically to reduce weight of the headstock, basically. The PRS birds on this neck are truly beautiful. They're like an ebony material surrounded by a mother of pearl. We also have mother of pearl side dots with an ebony binding, which is very, very flashy. In terms of pickups, we have a set of 5909 bass and treble pickups. These have the black covers and the gold screw posts. This is also a high gloss nitro guitar, so it's very, very shiny, a little sticky, but it's very cool that they're using nitro. So I believe that is everything I need to tell you about the modern private stock. So let's have a look at the old private stock. So taking a look at the second private stock that we're looking at in today's episode, you can tell that this guitar has a little bit more of a deeper dish carve. It's a little bit of a thicker quilt maple top. It's a little bit of a thick carve than the other one. And it's definitely a little bit more of a kind of striking quilt top. You can really see the definitions between that quilt. There's really two reasons why this top is more striking. It's obviously the wood quality, there's obviously more figuring in this wood, but also the finish quality. It's very pronounced and you can really see the differences in the grain. It's truly beautiful. It looks like this guitar could be in Slytherin in Harry Potter. It's very nice indeed. The main differences I can feel on this old one is that it's a lot heavier. It's a very heavy guitar. Obviously we have more of the outdated hardware, so we still have the PRS tremolo, but this is one of the older ones with the brass saddles. We have a set of 5708 pickups instead of the 5909s. We still have the 5-way switch, 1 volume, 1 tone, but we have slightly different controls on this one. Of course, the finish on this one's called Laguna Glow, which is very nice indeed. But the main difference is as I turn this around, from where you guys are sitting, you probably just think this is a dark, like black finish almost. But it's actually got a flamed mahogany and a flamed maple neck. But this is where I feel like the older PRS doesn't look as cool because it doesn't exaggerate the grain of wood that you have on the back. Obviously, you're paying for it, so you want to see it. So it's a very dark finish on this one, and a very dark flamed maple on the neck. You can't really see the kind of HD flame there. You can in person to a certain extent, but I would like to see that maple a little bit more. As you can see, we still have them PRS locking tuners, this time with ebony buttons instead of ivory. In terms of neck material, we have obviously flamed maple on the back, we have East Indian rosewood on the front, and then we have flamed maple binding, which looks very, very nice indeed. We have some very pretty birds on this one. This guitar looks insane. We have some very pretty birds on this guitar. It looks insane. So this guitar has the wide fat neck carve, which is a little bit more rounded, feels a little bit more like a V shape, whereas the more modern one has the pattern thin, which is a very slim custom 24 neck. But that's kind of an overview of both guitars. So now what we're going to do is compare their tones to see which one's best. So without further ado, let's get straight into the tone demonstration. So guitarists, now it's time for the tone demonstration of both of these beautiful PRS private stocks. Of course, today we're doing a comparison between old and new PRS private stocks, and this is the older one that we have in my hand now. Of course, we'll be using the same amplifier and the same effects for both guitars. I'm currently using the 2-Rock Bloomfield drive on the lead gain channel. We're going to start off by just doing clean tones of every single pickup, and then we'll do the same for the overdriven tones. And of course, let me know down below which PRS you prefer the sound of. But let's get straight to it. going to be doing some overdriven tones on the main humbucker tones, so the neck and the bridge, so let's hear it. So guys, it's the end of the Squealing Pig Guitars video. I really hope you've enjoyed. And let me know in the comment section below, which guitar do you prefer? Are you in the old camp or are you in the modern camp? Let me know down below in the comment section below. And if you're enjoying these videos and you're new to SPG, make sure to hit that subscribe button down below. We're on the road to 10,000 subscribers and we could really do with your help. So make sure to hit subscribe and click that notification bell to be notified when we make a new video. So now it's time for the conclusion of this video. Which guitar is gonna win? In my opinion, the 2011 private stock is a far superior instrument in terms of playability, craftsmanship, and visuals. We've kind of mentioned this in today's video anyway, but I think the overall materials that go into the Laguna Glow one are just far superior than the Beach Fade. And I also preferred the way that this guitar played in terms of response, you know, the tone, and the neck carve was a bit fatter, so it was a little bit more up my street. That being said, these guitars felt very different. They're both custom 24 models, both the same. They both played amazingly, they both sound amazing. Of course, at this level of price, you're expecting that for any instrument. I think this guitar is a killer example of what PRS are producing now. It's a very refined model. It's definitely very similar to a core model. And this is exactly what I think of when I play a PRS Custom 24. However, this Laguna Glow one, for me, plays a little bit different to a Custom 24. It's a little bit more vintage feeling, and although it has the 24 frets, I do think it plays different to a standard core Custom 24, which is great if you're looking for a one-off exclusive guitar. But if you're after a straight ahead, no nonsense PRS Custom 24 that plays like the core ones, then you're gonna wanna go for this one, which has the pattern thin carve, and it plays just like a modern PRS Custom 24. So really what I'm getting down to is that this guitar feels more individualistic, whereas this one feels a bit more like the rest of them on the shelf. But fundamentally, they're both incredible guitars using incredible, and the craftsmanship on these guitars is some of the best that you'll ever see in the guitar market. If I had to give a rating for each guitar, I would give the Laguna Glow one a 9.5 out of 10, and I'd give the Cross Beach Fade a 8.5. But as always, guys, let me know in the comment section below, what do you think of these PRS Custom 24s? Are you in the old camp or are you in the modern camp? Let me know down below. But that is the end of this Squealing Pig Guitars video. I really hope you've enjoyed, and I'll see you tomorrow for another episode. But until then, keep rocking, guys. I'll see you soon.